So this video is going to be a little controversial, and it's a video that I hesitated to create. I didn't want to initially, but the last couple of days, it's just information is coming through me to share, and I feel like I need to share this, and it needs to be said. And it's this. There are many people that are going out of body into the astral planes, seeing all type of things, coming back into this reality and sharing information as if that is the only truth. It is not. What you see in the astral plane, and let me back up a little bit. I created a video where I said that there's more to OBEs than astral travel, and there's a reason for that. Because for some reason, people seem to think that when you come out, and I like to call it the etheric body, but I'll just use astral body because that's what people are familiar with. When you come out of your body and you're in your astral body and you're navigating that reality and you see that things are constructed in certain ways and this and that, people think that that is how things truly are. Well, everything exists in the astral plane. Everything you think when it comes to your imagination, like let's say you use your imagination to create this, create that, or whatever, you'll see that in the astral plane. And it's real, you're there. But the astral plane is like right here. And there's other planes beyond that. And it's not like they're stacked on top of each other. Everything permeates, but it's very challenging to draw it. So when people try to draw these things, it's two-dimensional. They're not looking at it from the depth of it. You can't see the depth of it because it's a piece of paper or something, two-dimensional, and you can't see how things are curved and round and in a sphere, which brings me to another point. Okay, let me back up. Those of us that represent the mother, those of us that represent divine feminine, and I'm using language that people in this reality use, okay? Because to me, energy just expresses itself in different ways. We don't need to say male, female, feminine, masculine, all that, but since that's the language that people here want to use, I'm going to use it because that's what people understand. But those of us that represent that womb energy, that divine feminine energy, you never, ever hear us talking about there's no such thing as galaxies. There's no such thing as star systems. Everything is the way in which the planets are or the way that Earth is as flat, but it has this dome on it and whatever. You always, every single one of us are always talking about spheres and spirals, galactic beings, star systems, and planets. Why? Because that has been our experience. And many of us have had experiences prior to the internet ever even existing the way that it does now, or social media. So we didn't go online listening to people talk about this and that, then have the experience because now we're influenced by something somebody said, and now come back out here talking about something being dome-shaped and whatever the case may be. You know, a lot of people want to go back in time and talk about the ancients. Okay, so ancient Egyptians with the Comedians or the Mayans or whoever. They drew things in this way. Even they knew da-da-da-da-da, people will say, right? But here's the thing. You're not going back far enough. You're still going back to the way things are when it comes to patriarchal rule. 10,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago, in some places, you're still dealing with patriarchy. You got to go back hundreds of thousands of years. You got to go back to when everything was matriarchal, the mother, how things were then. Many of us are bringing that energy back to tell you about how things were prior to writing, prior to being able to put something on a piece of paper or a wall or a rock or a papaya or whatever. People communicated telepathically. And beings, higher dimensional beings, they communicate telepathically and they show you. They show you not from a drawing. You're in the reality seeing certain things. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen many round balls, many of them. And some of them have rings around it, similar to how we've been shown how Saturn is. I've seen simulations where these beings are showing me what's happened in other parallel realities, which we would perceive as our past, hundreds of thousands of years in the past, and what's happened to certain planets that are the planets. It was like fiery balls, what's the word I'm looking for? Ash, like ash, and this fiery thing, like lava or whatever, like it was just somebody put it on fire or something. It was being destroyed and then falling and then boom, and I can feel the boom. I didn't even have a body. I've been in places where I was scared because I have a fear of heights in this reality. My fear of heights kicked in when I'm coming out of this. It was like this pull, what people would call a gravitational pull. Call it whatever you want to call it. I was being pulled out of the window, and I saw round balls everywhere inside of darkness. Obviously, they were planets. I didn't want to go out there because my fear of heights came through. And I'm like trying to stop myself from going out there, but I saw round balls. Okay. There's a whole story with that. But the point I'm saying is I saw round balls, spheres. All right. There's been times when I've been on the surface of a planet. And then when I say surface of a planet, I mean just like here we're on an Earth surface and you look up in the sky. Okay. So I'm on the surface of a planet. I look up in the sky and I see round balls, but they're closer to us than, like, for an example, if you were to think of the way in which we've been taught how this star system is, solar system, you look up into the sky, you don't see what's out there. All you see are clouds or the sky. And it's like, or at night, you just see stars that are way beyond what we can touch and feel. You don't see the shape of anything. You just see lights, right? And that's depending on what part of the world you are, where you are. You're not even going to see that many of them. But there are planets where what's out there is very close to you. Very close to you. Like you can see the shape of these round balls everywhere. Different sizes, different colors. And it's so close, it's like you can reach up and touch it, but you can't. I'm just saying that's how close it is. So close. It's nothing like how it is here. These are other planets that are within other star systems. But it doesn't matter what you see, because what you see can be deceiving. What matters is, have you communicated with beings from these places? Those of us who talk about star systems and planets and things of that nature, inner Earth, or the insides of other planets, we've been in communication with beings from these other places. And I'm telling you right now, they communicate telepathically. They communicate through your ear, through devices that are etheric for us. But also they show you things depicted either in a simulation or on a screen. This whole screen thing. The screen looks different for different people, but they will show you. Then later, they may give you a book or something that you're familiar with or whatever. But they communicate in the same way that the ancients here communicated prior to patriarchal rule, telepathically and visually. You didn't need writing. You didn't need to look at something and say, oh, that's how it is. And you got a lot of people today going into the astral realm, seeing all these things, coming back, looking into some ancient texts and getting their verification. Oh, the Egyptians thought, the Mayans, the this, the that. They saw it the same way. No, those are humans that saw things from a human perspective based on how things were taught from a patriarchal point of view. They could remote view back then. They could do all kinds of things. But they were not viewing things or expressing from the womb perspective at all. They were expressing and viewing things here, but not here. Just like people today are going into the astral realm, they did all the time. They were going astral. But that's not the only thing that exists. So just like people today, they went into the astral realm, saw all this stuff, came back here and drew it and do all that kind of stuff. And now people are like, oh, yep, I saw, that's how it is. That's how it is. When you go galactic, you see way more. You experience way more. That's why I created those videos about galactic OBEs. And then I said cosmic OBEs. You're going beyond the astral. It is very important that people understand about astral. It's very important. But how long are you going to stay in elementary school? Those of you who have OBEs, naturally, organically, you keep listening to these people who have not been beyond the astral realm. And then so you're discounting or dismissing your experiences because it's not what they're saying. When you've been beyond that, they're talking about everything here and you're up here experiencing this up here, but you're dismissing it because it's not what someone over here is talking about. Why? It's not going to be. It's not. If you limit yourself to what's here, that's all you're going to experience. When I started having experiences, not just out-of-body experiences, lucid dreaming, everything, I didn't even have language, clairvoyant things. I didn't have the language for anything. I just remember being 4 years old when what I now know as lucid dreams started, and so many other things. I was seeing, hearing, and feeling things beyond this reality. There was no internet. This is the 80s. There was no internet to go to. There was no such thing as social media. And by the time I was in my 20s and other things started happening, social media was not the way it was today, or is today, I should say. I couldn't go anywhere to learn about what was happening to me. So I didn't have the influence of anyone else telling me this and that about things. It was pure. When you have other people influencing you, hear it repeated, the same thing over and over and over again, subconsciously, that's in your subconscious. Now you're in the astral realm experiencing that and thinking that that's it. It is not. Because a relative comes to you. When you come out of your body and you're in the astral realm, a relative who have passed on comes to you and teaches you this or that and all these things. That version of them is fourth dimensional. Listen to the seventh and eighth dimensional version of themselves. But you're not going to get that in the astral realm. Because the reason why I say that is when you listen to a higher, more expanded dimensional version, I should say, of an individual, of a soul, then what you're going to get is different than what someone fourth dimensionally is telling you, even if it's the same soul. It's a different aspect. So you've got a soul that you are that's projected itself in various realities, in densities. So these various projections are different densities. This projection will tell you something very different than this other projection if the density is different because they're vibrating at different frequencies. Okay? So if you are listening to a relative that have transitioned out of this reality and they're telling you, oh, it's like this, it's like that, it's like this, da-da-da-da-da. And just because that person is on what people are calling the other side, I don't like using the word the other side, the phrase, because there's too much. Everything is too broad. Life is way too broad. The essence of you is way too broad to condense everything down to a this side and a that side. There's only one side, really. There's one womb where everything is vibrating at different frequencies, different density experiences. Okay? That's what it is. But let's just talk about how people are perceiving things. And I'm going to use the language that people are familiar with. So when you go into this other side place, astral, you're going to experience a vast experience with so many different beings, so many different ancient people, relatives that have transitioned. And every single being you come in contact with have other versions of themselves that are way more expanded than that. And that right there is what is important for you to understand. It's important for you to communicate with the aspects of them that are more expanded than astral. Because everything, and I mean everything, exists in the astral plane. Everything. Anything you can think of exists there. It's the realm of the imagination. Everything exists there. So, when you go beyond that and you have communication with galactic beings, higher density beings, you're going to see spheres. You're going to see spirals. They'll show you. But you don't even have to, it's not even about them showing you anything. You're going to have the experience yourself. So again, those of you that are having experiences where you have no body at all, you're in the darkness and you're going places and you're seeing things that are very different than what people who are in an astral body are experiencing. Trust your experience over what anybody in this reality says. Trust your experience over what I say. Trust your experience over anything in this reality. Because what's coming through a human is not going to be as pure as the experience that you have when you have no body and you're someplace else and you're getting that information and it's flowing to you. There's so many people that have discounted their experiences and just said, oh, I just had this very vivid dream. It may have been a vivid dream, but if you know that you were there and it's feeling real to you, why are you calling it a vivid dream just because things don't look like what someone else says? Just because you see round balls that are surrounded by darkness and they told you that it's a dome. You don't see the dome. Why not? Because you've gone beyond the astral realm into realms where you're actually seeing what else is there. Okay? So, my point in this is to say to you, that person who is going out of body in the various different ways in which you go out of body and the various different experiences that you have beyond astral, to trust yourself, trust your experience, trust what's coming through you, and trust the beings that communicate with you that are beyond the realm of imagination. You have ancestors that are in these galactic places. You have people that you knew here, loved ones here, where there's aspects of them beyond what people think of when they think of my aunt, for an example, my dad. Yeah, the versions of them that I knew are fourth dimensional, and I can have my experience with them in the astral realms and all these other things. And like I said, the astral realm is very vast, different parts of it, different sections of all these. But there's aspects of them that are galactic, that are in different star systems, planets within these star systems, round balls planets. All planets don't look the same either. But I'm specifically saying round balls because I'm sick and tired of people trying to put it out there and these other people coming to me talking about, well, it's not like that. You need to communicate with galactic beings to see what it really is like. It's important for you to go beyond the astral realm. Okay? Important. And I'm speaking again to those of you who have these experiences organically. I am not talking to people who just want to have fun and go have an OBE or whatever because they still don't get it. When you're ready to have one, you'll have one. It'll happen. Many people are ready, but they suppress it out of fear. And so there's things that they need to get used to again so it can happen again. But all of this, wanting to argue with people and going back and forth about that, I've read, the people are like in comments, like going back and forth about this and that off of what someone else is saying. Like, it shouldn't matter what I say or what anyone says. What matters is your own experience that you have. I'm just saying, allow for yourself to expand your consciousness beyond an astral plane. That's all. And you'll see way more. You'll experience the mother. You'll go beyond elementary school. And once again, those of us that are representing that divine feminine, that mother, that womb energy, we always talk about spheres, spirals, galactic beings, star systems, planets, all the time. Look, there's a reason for that. So, expand your consciousness and allow for yourself to go beyond the planes that people teach you and talk to you about. Relying on information in this reality is what's going to get you trapped up. It's going to limit your experience. Talking about what the ancients have in some documents or on the walls and all these things, these are older humans that still are not really ancient compared to hundreds of thousands of years ago. So you got to go beyond that again. You got to go back to the mother. You got to go back to the womb. You got to go back to source.